Call to order this meeting of the Maine Township Board of Trustees. And I would like to ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome. May I have a roll call?
Assessor Cry.
Here.
Highway Commissioner Bouvet. Here. Clerk Giuliano is here. Supervisor Diamond.
Here.
Trustee Jones.
Here.
Trustee Horvath.
Here.
Trustee Maher.
Here.
Trustee Malik.
Here.
Okay. All right, we have a number of routine matters on our agenda, which we'll start off with, and then get to some of the matters which I think a few people come here with some interest about. So, all right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 23rd board meeting, the August 23rd board meeting?
Motion to approve the minutes of the August 23rd, 2022 board meeting. Reading.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments about that? All right, then roll call.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes.
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Abstain.
All right, thank you. May I have a motion to approve the general assistance expenditures?
Motion to approve payroll for pay dates of September 2nd, 2022 and September 16, 2022, and general assistance checks 54342 through check number 54414 in the amount of $55,661.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any comments or questions? All right, roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
May I have a motion to approve the road district expenditures?
I'll make a motion to approve payroll for pay dates of September 2nd, 2022 and September 16th, 2022, and road district checks number 22534 through check number 22572 in the amount of $98,571.52.
Second.
Questions or comments? Hearing none, may I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the general town fund expenditures?
I'll make a motion to approve the payroll for pay dates of September 2nd, 2022 and September 16th, 2022, and general town fund checks number 59689 through check number 59767 in the amount of $306,380.26. Second.
Any questions or comments on that? Roll call, please.
Supervisor Diamond.
Yes?
Trustee Jones.
Yes.
Trustee Horvath.
Yes.
Trustee Maher.
Yes.
Trustee Malik.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Right now, we've reached that part of the meeting for public participation, and I think we do have some requests for public participation. If you would please bring that up to me. Do you have the sheet? Okay, thank you. Okay, we do have a number of requests for public participation tonight. And the first one I have listed is Edemesh Groshal. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. Would you like to come up to the microphone, sir?
I can speak from here if it's
All
okay.
right, that's all right.
Okay. Good evening, Supervisor Diamond, Board of Trustees. I'm Maine Township, long-term resident of Maine Township. I'd just like to begin by thanking the Highway Department for the good work they do, not only maintaining the highways, but also the staff has been very helpful in obtaining building permits and so on. So I'd like to express my appreciation of that. Now I have a request to make. I live in the 9100 block of North Lincoln Avenue, which is 4 blocks to the east of here. And this block is extremely dark. There's very little light, street light there. There's a street light on Davis to the south, and a street light on Church to the north, but they don't affect our street at all. They're lighting is on Church and Davis. Our street, if you go in there at night, on a moonless night, you'll see it's pitch black. And I think it's quite dangerous for two reasons. One is there have been burglaries there, and also we have children in the block now, so for traffic reasons also, I would request a light there. And I noticed that streets on either side of me, Lincoln is my street. On one side we have Delphia, on the other side we have Knight. On the same block they have a light right in the middle of the block. For some reason ours is missing, so I would request you to consider putting a light on. I have some of my neighbors here, I think they would support this.
All right. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I have several other requests for participation. The Silkar couple, did you want to come up together or speak separately? Silkar? Or am I saying it right? Silkoma?
No.
Oh.
No. I'm just support.
Okay.
I'm part of the yeah.
All right, and you also live on North Lincoln Avenue too, is that right? The same block?
91 feet away from me.
Okay, all right, and same with Dorothy?
Yes, that's
All
fine.
right. And are you did you want to speak in support of each?
Okay, we support.
Okay. All right, fine, thank you very much. All right, and then I have Mr. Shaw Newman. There you are.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm here along with Barbara Christopher, we're both commissioners on the Park Ridge Historic Preservation Commission. And the purpose of us being here is to answer any questions that may come up when we reach this on the agenda.
All right, thank you very much. We may ask you at that point in time to step over to the microphone. I see Barbara Christopher, you're there too, as is Dr. Bud Phillips. And I think you're all here to answer questions that may come up in relation to that particular agenda item. Is that right? Okay, all right, well, we will get to that shortly. Okay, that concludes our public participation. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to old business. So, as you may recall, last month we voted on a resolution regarding Maine streamer membership, but there was a typo in that resolution and also did not have the date on it. So we have a corrected resolution here this evening that I'm passing around. And if you want, you can look at the old one, which most of us signed last time. So this is just to vote on it again. And I don't know that we need another motion to vote on it, but just in case, we have a motion to vote on the corrected Maine streamer resolution, which is resolution number 2022-9.
Motion to vote on corrected resolution 2022-9.
Oh, second.
Okay, all right. I don't presume there are any questions on that. May I have a roll call?
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes.
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Now we have a couple of, several matters under new business, and I'd like to take the second one first. This is related to what we have a few people here to talk to us about. And this is the discussion that goes on the resolution regarding consenting to landmark designation. So I'm going to ask our three guests here who worked on the nomination, Barbara Christopher, Sean Newman, and Dr. Phillips, if you would like to just come over to the microphone in case there's any questions. All right, so the board may recall we talked about this last month and asked if the board, I asked if the board was generally in support of it. We did not vote on it, but a general sort of verbal consensus is that we were interested in it, and thus I contacted the Park Ridge Historic Commission about this matter, and they've done quite a bit of work gathering information. And information has also been provided by Dr. Bud Phillips, who is a local historian, and this immediate area is very familiar with it, and of course very familiar with the church itself, which he used to be a member of many, many years ago. So would you like to just sort of tell us a little bit about the Park Ridge commission and its interest in this building. We do have your nomination here, so we've had an opportunity to read everything you said. Thank you very much. But if you'd just like to give our audience here a little bit of background about it, that would be, I think.
So the Park Ridge Historic Preservation Commission began in 2010, so we've been around for a while. And our main purpose is to identify and landmark significant properties here in Park Ridge. A secondary purpose for our existence is to promote the history of Park Ridge. Now, with respect to this building, as many of you might know, it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright Jr., also known as Lloyd Wright. That's what he liked to call himself. It is a significant building architecturally. It's been identified by a friend of mine who is a professor of architecture and a Frank Lloyd Wright expert. He teaches at Taliesin. He's written books on Frank Lloyd Wright. And he came here and he wrote a letter, which I believe is in the packet, talking about how this is a significant building that is in need of recognition. And that's the purpose of why I originally approached Karen some time back and said, we need to have this discussion, we need to talk about this, because this is a building certainly worth recognizing and letting the community at large know that this is a landmark. This is a building that is significant. And so that's the reason that we're talking about it tonight and the reason that we're here. Would either of you like to say anything?
My first experience walking in the door here, I was 10 years old. And it was a Good Shepherd Community Church at the point. And the church started in the house next door. And the minister moved from the church in the city in the 50s when people were leaving the city and moving to the suburbs. He intended to start a church. The church was in his house. He lived in the house with his family of 5 people, and he had services in the living room. And it took off. And then they had enough people to hire Lloyd Wright to design the building. Actually, this is half of the project. It was never quite completed. And it's, the Lloyd Wright also designed the Church of the Wayfarer, Portuguese Bend, California. And if you're going to look at that, they're very similar, except that one's mostly all glass. But for the climate here, that wouldn't work. So that's basically where it started. Eventually the church became smaller and smaller and was sold to the township.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I might add that the Maine Township Board started to consider landmark designation about 10 years ago, I think it was, maybe not quite that long ago, but ran into a few obstacles at the time. It didn't have a plan, and there were some expenses, and the project sort of fell by the wayside for a while. But I'm very glad we were able to invigorate that project, and I very much want to thank the commission for finding the plat and preparing the nomination, all of which I'm sure took a lot of work and a lot of research. So thank you. And I'm going to open it up to questions from the board members and also the other elected officials now. Yes.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment.
Okay.
I was telling the supervisor how much I enjoyed reading the background information, because I knew some of it, but I certainly didn't know detail of this. And I have a renewed appreciation of how beautiful and special this building is and what a jewel it is for Maine Township. And I would encourage anybody who lives in the township or who's just interested in architecture to go to our website and the board packet for today and read this, because it's very interesting, and I really appreciate all of the work you did. I'm sure it took a long time to put this together, so thank you.
I just want to acknowledge Barbara Christopher. What you're looking at is really her work.
Yeah.
So it's Barbara that deserves the congratulations on that.
It was good life. Good job, like you said.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from the board members?
I just wanted to thank him for letting us know that this gentleman was famous, not just because of his name. He was an architect himself. He's not just the son of
No,
The legend.
he was a very good architect in his own right.
Yeah, absolutely. So thanks for letting us know that, and good to see you again. You're still living here, right? Right there? You're still right here. Nice to see you at the festivals.
Yeah.
You're making your
All right, any
presence
other
known.
questions or comments from the other elected officials that are here?
Well, here there's another church that was started in California.
Church of the Wayfarer.
And
Yeah, but when
In Portuguese, Japan.
Yes.
And, and actually, Frank Wright and his son were actually partners in his father's architectural firm.
Right. So,
Yeah, didn't always get along, but. Yeah, he wasn't just a junior. Yeah. And that's a very significant church too. And it's on the order of this one. The pictures, the hill next door was supposed to have a 4-story chapel on top of the hill. And one of his goals in designing the building was because Illinois was flat, he wanted something to stick up in the sky. And it was supposed to have an elevator up about 3 stories. And where the parking lot is, that was supposed to be a reflection pool to reflect the entire building. So that was the next step, which we never got to. And we eventually, the hill was attached to the building, and this was a planter. And the plants grew, I don't think grew in the wall or in the hill, but we took the hill down because we had a terrible problem with vandalism. Young people would get on the roof and walk up the hill and break in the building. And that was one of the reasons that the church went under. We could never figure out how they got in. And we had rented a place to a preschool. And the preschool lady one day went to the bathroom, and they would take the skylight off the bathroom, lower one of the kids down the rope, and he'd open the doors.
Oh, fortunately, we don't have those. So, that's good.
But that was what happened.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so now I need a motion to pass resolution 2022-11, which is a resolution consenting to the designation of the township office located at 1700 Dollar Road as a Park Ridge landmark. Do I have such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments? Asif?
Yeah, I think this is the right time to celebrate the 172th anniversary next month, because I think this building anniversary, I was reading in the 150th anniversary was celebrated in October 2000. So I think the best time next month we should celebrate the anniversary of 172 because we passed this building.
Well, that's a great idea.
That is a great
Thank you.
idea.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. May I have a roll call then?
certainly. Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malika?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And particularly thanks to our guests here this evening.
thank you. Thank you for all your work.
All right, okay. Now we'll go back to the previous item, which was discussion and vote on the change to the personnel manual allowing compensatory time. And you have, I believe, received the resolution which would change a provision in our personnel manual to allow the accrual of compensatory time under limited circumstances. This would be when, particularly it would be when the township needs a lot of employees to volunteer to work on weekends at special events like the garage sale, festivals, things like that, and where we really need a lot of people to step up and volunteer. It's doing work that they don't usually do. It's, you know, like cooking hot dogs, selling coffee, moving tables, things of that nature, things that we have a lot of people do for us at the garage sale. I guess it was just last weekend, 2 weekends ago, weekend before. So that's the nature of it. So do I have a motion to pass resolution number 2022-10, which is a resolution to allow the accrual of compensatory time?
I just had a question before we vote, is that all right? Discussion?
Okay,
I don't think this affects the motion we're about to make, but page 28, section 4.4, overtime compensation.
are you looking in the attachment? Is that what you're looking at?
First page, it's attached to it.
Mhm.
It says that, paragraph 4 says the repeated failure to report for overtime when directed by an immediate supervisor acting within established policies shall be grounds for disciplinary action. And I was just wondering, do we actually force people to work overtime?
No, well, we only have a few people that work and earn overtime cash. So we just have a few employees who do that, they work in overtime. When they work overtime, they're 40-hour a week employees, and I think we have 2 or 3 of them, I think. I can't remember. And when they work over 40 hours, they actually earn overtime cash. So I don't know that it's necessary that often, but I have not received any complaints from people who work overtime. They do get paid that time and a half cash. Compensatory time will be different. It's, comp time that people bank. It's just straight time. It's not time and a half cut time. It's straight time.
Yeah, and just to bring this up, Karen, the only reason I bring this up is because the first sentence says it's our policy to keep overtime to a minimum. And then paragraph 4 says we punish people who don't report for overtime.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea.
Well,
It should be considered sometime. It just makes no sense at all. And I mean,
well, that's a different section.
right, of course, it doesn't affect us.
Yeah, we'll maybe look at that another time.
Okay.
So anyway, do I have a motion to pass resolution number 2022-10? Such a motion?
Sure. Motion to pass the
Resolution?
Thank you, resolution 2022-10.
Second.
Okay. Are there any further questions or comments regarding this resolution? All right. And again, this just goes to the township manual, not the highway department. I think that's really clear. All right. Hearing no further questions, I would like a roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. All right, let's go on to the next item, which is discussion of landscaping work. Now, I did not have this listed as for a vote because I anticipated that we would just discuss the matter tonight. As I think most of us have noticed, there are a number of dead trees around the property, and I think we do need some landscaping work. Mike has gotten some quotes from 2 arborists and said he would like to get a 3rd. We don't have that one yet, but I just want to know if the board has any opinions that they'd like to voice as to whether or not you'd like to have, us look at removing all the dead trees that we saw, or some of them, or if you have any opinion as to how ambitious we should make this project in terms of cutting down, trimming, or leaving the trees on our property, which are not appearing that healthy. Anybody have any opinions on that?
My personal opinion is if they're dead, that really should be removed, because at that point, they only become a hazard at some point of falling or hurting somebody or something.
Okay,
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
And also, there's a lot of overgrowth, and I don't remember the last time it's been done, so maybe we need to clean up the landscaping in general, if it's,
So are you talking about sort of the overgrown area, which is directly to the south of the building, along the sidewalk?
But some of the bushes really need to be trimmed. There's a lot of dead branches and some of the trees and bushes, and overall health. Besides the dead trees, maybe some of the overall health of some of the trees that are kind of in need pruning.
Okay, all right. Other thoughts? Did you, did I hear that there might be some requirement from the village of Park Ridge that we have to plant trees that we take down?
They used to, if we took down, at least in the parkway.
Oh, the parkway.
They used to have an ordinance that if you took one down, you could replace it with one.
If they took it down, that is, if the village took it down?
If you remove the tree, yeah, so you might want to check with them.
Okay.
If any of them are on the parkway, it's generally the city that will come, if they're dead, the city will come and take them down.
Right, but,
Probably have to notify them though.
right.
Yeah.
But if you take down trees, you usually have to have a permit, even on your personal property. And then, I don't know, they at least encourage you to replace it with a tree.
The other,
But as for residents, I think if that's for,
Yeah.
I think it's across the board.
could be, because we are a tree city, so. They used to keep, when I was involved in public works, we used to keep an actual count of trees, and we were part of a consortium. And so it was kind of strict, but they, allowed you to take down a tree, and they really wanted to put one back, and it had to be, it had to be one that was, more suitable for that space. That was not one that would encourage disease or.
Okay, all right.
It could be different now, I don't know, it was a while ago.
Okay. Any other thoughts about
Yeah.
trees out
Yes, I have in front of me this lawn service proposal, which one we paying like $13.50 per month, and there is no scope of what are they doing. So that's why I can see the landscaping maintenance is very poor. And even they say seasonal trimming, one-time charge, including shrub, evergreen up to 6 feet. And then they charging for a disposal charge of our fall cleanup material, $250. But what they are charging for $13.50, there is no scope of work.
What are you reading from, I'm sorry?
The actual contract that they paid for.
Can I have, please, anybody help me make a copy and we can give
Yeah,
it?
it's yes for copy of the contract for our landscape service.
Oh, okay.
And there's no scope of work, why we paying $13.50 and what's their job is? So I think we should revise the contract and we can ask the second option, we can ask the landscaper, which include the shrub maintenance, tree maintenance, so they should trim the branches and all that. I have a 10-year experience in a landscape consultant, so that's why I can see this is very poor contract, there's no detail on this one, so. I don't know how we approved this one, but this is not enough information on this contract. Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other thoughts or?
Well, my thought would be, this is the first time we've seen the trees, and we don't think that necessarily any particular tree is dead. I mean, if trees are dead and they need to be removed, that's fine. But we need to affirm that they are in fact dead, not just getting dormant because it's the fall. And removing trees in the fall is probably a bad idea as well before the winter time. I think you wait till the spring probably to actually physically remove the tree. I don't think it's a good idea to do it this time of year. But obviously, I'm not a landscaper, but I did work as an assistant landscaper when I was in high school. So I learned a little bit about trees and, shrubs. You got to affirm that they're dead before you include that they're really dead. And it looks like a lot of our trees are trimmed. Not necessarily removable at this point, but other than that, that's my only thought.
All right. Okay. Any other thoughts? Susan?
Well, I know that
You're-
the south area that you were talking about, at one time, a couple supervisors back, wanted it to reflect a prairie-like Illinois environment, but even our prairies sometimes get overrun by invasive plants, and they don't contribute to the other natural plants, so, yeah, it's looking kind of like a mess in an eyesore.
Yeah,
It needs to be,
it's very overgrown.
yeah, and it's, yeah, the invasive ones are taking over now. It's not the pretty little black-eyed Susans and
Yeah.
different things. that-
There's some of that out there, there's some of that,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of what I would call weed trees and
I
it's
agree.
very,
Maybe it can get managed slowly, I don't know. But, or to rip it all out and just put green grass there, I don't know if that's the answer.
I don't know. If you have any other ideas, let me know.
Okay.
Sounds like a good Eagle Scout program.
Yeah, we did have someone, I think, from Oakton Community College, I'm told, that has worked on it in the past. someone from like horticultural department
Oh, nice.
or something, but I think that person no longer does that.
By the wayside.
I believe that Maine East has either like an ecology club or a horticulture club or something. I wonder if they would be interested.
Would you contact someone there? 'Cause- all right.
Maybe put it out to the schools, maybe they would want to.
Yeah.
It's a great idea, Kelly. Scouts love it.
Yeah. Girl Scouts.
Okay, any other thoughts on the landscaping?
Just thank you to Dana for giving us the contract, so we can see what it says, what we're paying for.
But you need to do, like he said, to cut down trees that are dead because it causes something.
Yeah.
Would you like me to ask our company that we're using for a more itemized detail of what we're getting for the 1350?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, I see them doing some of the stuff out there, when, you know, they come by like every Monday, I think it is, like Monday they come by. And they do work every Monday, various stuff, trimming, cutting grass, doing other things, but I'm not looking at them all the time they're here, so I don't know.
I'm just curious, like when I briefly glanced at the thing, it just says like spring cleanup, for example, and I just would be curious, then seasonal trimming. I would just be curious to know, like, you know, even quarterly, if they go in and do, you know, more robust, like trimming and things like that, and,
Yeah.
because that might be nice.
Mike could probably answer that question
Okay.
a little bit better, but unfortunately, he's not here.
But in the meantime, I'll see if I can get more detail of the breakdown of the 1350.
Okay, like if, yeah, like what they do monthly versus maybe, you know, every few months. or-
Right.
Like what are seasonal
Yeah.
trimmings,
problem.
thank you.
Okay, all right. So, also under new business, it's not on the agenda, but we may have another matter to discuss, not vote on. Ed, would you like to talk about what we discussed about collecting
Yeah, sure.
for your information if you'd like, while you're talking? I can pass this out to people.
Yeah, that's fine.
Provide it, okay?
Sure.
Why don't you go ahead, though?
Yeah, basically, you know, an issue came up to where Karen and I were discussing about unpaid citations that are issued by our code enforcement officer and what happens to those citations. And basically, what it boils down to is a lot of them are going uncollected and they're just sitting in an abyss and nothing is happening. So I looked into, just briefly, one of the collection services that works with municipalities and got some brief information. There's still a lot of research that has to be done on it, but basically they are just a collection service that will take our unpaid citations and seek to collect on that debt. And they can either take out a fee, they could charge the fee to the person who did not pay the citations, and then the remainder would come back to the township, or the fee would just come out of the citation and then, so there's multiple options with this, and I just wanted to put it out to the board for discussion to see if this is something that everybody would want to look into, or if we want to just keep it the way it is, you know.
So I know the Illinois Department of Revenue uses collection agencies. This particular firm that you found, it sounds like their main clients are municipalities, villages, and counties. I don't know whether the fact that we're not a home rule entity would have any bearing on whether or not we could use a service like this. I don't think so, but that might be something that we would want to check and make sure about. But, you know, I suppose the question is do we want to use collection agencies? Is that something we want to look into? Is that something we want to do?
Do we know how much we're talking about in unpaid tickets?
I mean, Nader, if you had to guess, how many of your tickets go unpaid?
Probably 50%.
50%?
And are these people that, I mean, because you give them warnings and things a lot of times, and then you give them a ticket, and
You give them warnings, you know, in some instances, you do give them warnings, but most of the time, if it's vehicle related, we give them the tickets.
Now,
Especially if it's for towing.
okay, so do you see with the people that get the tickets, even though they're not paying their tickets, are they sort of fixing the situation, or are they still in violation?
I've ticketed the same vehicles more than once, and they
Okay.
still haven't paid the tickets.
Okay,
They've even been told more than once.
okay.
They haven't paid the tickets.
Well, it sounds like they need to pay their tickets then. Like, I mean, it's not like, they've been given a lot of warnings, they've been given multiple chances to remedy the situation. I don't know. It seems like they're just gonna keep violating it if,
Right. And I should point out that the highway department gets some of the fines that are collected. We do have an ordinance, this is ordinance 97-3, which says any fines collected by the township for offenses committed upon any highway or right-of-way maintained by or under the supervision of the township highway commissioner shall be paid to and deposited in the township road or bridge fund. And my understanding so far is that, just a rough guess, is 80 to 90% of the fines would relate to this. So I think the highway department has a big interest in this, obviously, whether or not these fines are collected. And we would have somewhat of an interest, but the highway department obviously has an interest in it too.
Sure,
So-
and that goes the same as,
Yeah.
for property maintenance, if there's issues, citations written for property maintenance issues, that would go to the town hall.
Right. So, if you can, think about this, take a look at it, we can research it more, and we can put it on the agenda for a vote next time, if you want to do that, if there's an interest in that. I'm just sort of trying to figure out if you even want me to put that on the agenda.
Okay. My only comment was from from the last board meeting, it says that we should tell offenders that they can't sell their property if unpaid violations exist. That's a horrible idea, that could never work. Just put a lien on the house, and then at the closing, it would be paid for. The collection agency can't be telling people you can't sell your house until.
All right,
Yes,
what are you reading off of there?
From the minutes from the last board meeting. It's typed in there, discussion and comments on enforcement possibilities that would would not allow an offender to sell his or her property if unpaid violations exist.
Well, I mean,
So telling them they can't sell their house because they owe,
some municipalities will put a lien on a home if people don't pay.
Yeah, that's fine, but you can't tell them they can't sell their house.
No,
It's a lien is then they have to take care of it at the closing.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I think, what they mean by that is,
Well, that's not what it said, but okay.
And I don't think we have the ability to do that anyway, right?
Correct.
no, we don't issue transfer stamps.
I don't think so either.
So would this company put a lien on their property then?
I don't know what they do.
No.
This was just a cursory.
I think they just send letters and call people is what they do.
Yeah, we don't want collection
Based on
agencies
what
doing
I've read so far.
Yeah, I think that's only
And it sounds like,
municipalities.
yes,
I understand that, yeah, I understand.
And again, this is, if we could look into multiple companies, this is just the first company that I found. So, I mean, it's limitless if we want to look into other companies and see how they do it, and see if they can do it, see if we can do it. I mean, this is just an initial discussion to see if the board is open to that idea.
Right. Also, under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, if you're collecting your own debts, you're not subject to the statute. When you hire a collection agency, you might be. Now, we're a government agency, hopefully we'd be exempt from that. But when you hire a collection agency and they violate the law, you're essentially opening yourself to a lawsuit, which is another reason why you got to be careful with collection agencies, in my opinion. Illinois has a statute, and the federal law has a statute as well. Debt collection practices. So just got to be careful when you come to collection.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we might want to consider when deciding whether to do it or not. But, that's something that probably we should look into between now and then. And we can ask you to do that. Okay? All right. Any other thoughts or comments on this possibility? Okay. All right, so is there any other new business? Anyone else have any other business they wanted to bring up during this section of the meeting? Okay, all right. Then we're down to announcements. One of the announcements I do need to make is regarding our minutes. We are required by the Open Meetings Act to review our closed session minutes every 6 months, I believe, and we did do that. At our last closed session, we reviewed the minutes from October 21st, 2019. That was the first closed session on that day. May 25th, 21, July 27th, 21, February 22nd, 2022, July 26th, 2022, and August 23rd of 2022, and determined those would remain confidential. So, and now I just want to give a recap of a few recent events. First of all, our garage sale, our really big event of the year. I think it was really well organized and well run. I was here for the beginning of the day, and that seemed to go pretty smoothly. Kim, I think you were throughout the middle of the day. You were here.
The whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, and
Great job.
it was a beautiful day, and we got lots of customers, and it was a very interesting event. And many of our staff members worked at that, so they were out there during the day performing various duties throughout the garage sale. And I'm very pleased to pass on this information from the staff members who worked on it, that the gross revenue was $6,363. Our expenses were only $752. So the net profit from the garage sale was $5,610. So I think that was great, and I think was substantially higher than it was ever in the past. I mean, like 35% higher than previous garage sale. So that was quite remarkable, and I think by any measure, it was a successful event. So I just want to congratulate all the staff members that worked on it, particularly Mainstay, Richard and Emily in particular worked on it. Is that right, Ariel? Yeah. And I'm sure all of you in Mainstay were working on it very hard. So thank you again, and we're pleased to have had that again after 2 years of not having it. I think 2 years went by without us having it during the pandemic. So that was great. All right, our returning seminar was also a very successful seminar run by our mainstreamers, and I was here for that. The room was full of people. The attorney gave the presentation, talked for maybe 20 minutes, but then people asked questions for at least 40 minutes after that, and were very interested in how to complete a power of attorney, what it would mean if they did that, so forth and so on. And then finally we had our food pantry grand reopening, and that was last week. So I think at this point all of our improvements are completed to the food pantry, at least all those we envision right now. So now it's just going to be a matter of keeping that pantry stocked with food and keep it running. So as far as upcoming events, I hope board members have on their calendar October 18th, that's our next agency funding meeting. October 20th, the township officials of Cook County meeting, they're going to be meeting here. This is the supervisors who are supervisors of townships within Cook County. We'll be having a meeting here in the evening. I've gone to these meetings at other township offices, and it's my turn to host here, so that's something I'm going to be doing on the evening of the 20th of October.
You have time?
Oh, I think I said 6:30. I think 6:30. I'll double check with that and get back to you, Susan, though. So, yeah, and anyone's welcome to attend. Just let me know if you are going to be there, though. Just want to make sure I'll order enough food before the evening, okay? All right, so just give me a heads up about that. October 22nd is going to be a busy day. We have both a shredding event here at Maine Township, which is always very popular, and I believe Park Ridge will allow us to use a booth at the Park Ridge Farmers Market. So I think this is the last one of the year that they're going to have. That is the last farmers market. And then North Suburban Legal Aid Program on October 27th. Please tune into that, sign up for that, and find out about the services that they provide. And then on October 28th, you've seen a flyer at your place here. You might make note of this. We're going to be providing flu shots, COVID boosters, and high-dose flu vaccine for those over 65 at our township office here on the 28th. That's going to be Friday. And then finally, the Township Official of Illinois Conference. Now I'm going, I don't know, is anyone else going to go this year? Anyone else planning on going? Okay.
I see, please.
Asif, are you going to go? Are you thinking about going?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go.
Okay, all right. Well, if you'd like Alicia to sign you up, please let her know soon. So she
Yeah,
can
I'm
take
just
care of it.
trying to work out a couple things, as long as I get it cleared up, I'm gonna go.
Okay, all right, Susan?
50%.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay, are there any other announcements that anyone would like to make?
I just want to share that Maine East High School is having their fall play. So here's a little brochure for it. They're doing a comedy called The Play That Goes Wrong, and it's going to be this Thursday at 7 p.m., this Friday at 4 p.m., and this Saturday at 7 p.m. So you can go to their website and get tickets if you're interested. My son's going to be in it, and Trustee Jones's niece is in it. So,
Double whammy.
yeah, so it's a comedy, it's a play within a play, and
So it's a shameless plug.
yes, but I think it's going to be very funny, so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that, you said Thursday?
Is
and then-
Thursday?
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, yeah. So Thursday at 7, Friday at 4, and,
The day after tomorrow, Thursday?
yeah, and then October 1st, Saturday at 7 as well.
So you can buy tickets there too, you don't have to buy them at.
Yes, and I believe it's $7 for adults and $5 for kids, yeah.
Pretty good price.
Yeah.
All right, any other announcements?
I just want to commend Marie for the activities in August. I'm looking at the activities you did in August. Those are exceptional, all three of them. And maybe we can consider another luau next summer.
Yeah.
It's a different theme maybe instead of Hawaiian, maybe Pakistani food or Asian food, or because you had three outstanding trips, it looks like. The Glass River boat and the Old Man River, as well as the White Sox game, which is, I'm sure, the highlight of the entire month. But, so, wanted to congratulate you on three great events in only 1 month, right? You did all three of those in 1 month. So,
Yeah.
among many other things, yeah, outstanding.
Okay, all right. Unless there's any other matters, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Nope, see, Susan has some.
Oh, I'm sorry, Susan, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I didn't
No, you go
speak
right
up.
ahead.
I just-
Go right ahead.
We've had very interesting last week or so with the appeals going on. We're thinking that what we're doing now is working pretty well. We put a box out in front for people to take forms that they can fill out after hours or on the weekends when they're not able to. Actually, we prefer that people actually don't come here, but we have had this set up, thank you, Township. People come in and fill out a form because we're able to take their information and do forms online for them. So that has worked out really well. And the weekend, the box out there is generating like 15 more people coming in and filling out forms and dropping them off every night. On the weekends, we have a little bit more. So that's really a very good thing. We've only had maybe 3 outbreaks with residents because they always think that the township has increased their taxes. So we had to take a couple people out from the township because they were very, very upset. Usually we can calm people down and talk to them. But basically it's been very well received. We do a couple hundred appeals a day. We're asking that our residents get things done by October 4th. Though the Cook County Assessor closes the 7th, we found that in the past, we wait to that date, everybody is calling us, we can't get everything in, and then their system goes down because there's so many appeals. So it's been good. My staff is working really hard. I make sure that they have water and maybe a couple of trees to just get them through the day, because it's really, talking to people and working on the computer constantly. They've been working extra hours, taking an hour only for lunch. So kudos to my staff and the cooperation throughout the township. I know the clerk is kind of helping us out, and we also have general assistants, and we're all been busy the three departments have been very busy moving forward with what we do for the township, and I think that everything has been well received from all of us, and thank you for that. So, that's all. Oh, and my boys my grandsons from the garage sales have about 2 more boxes of cars they can add to their collection. Oh, yeah, not that they don't have enough, but it was well received by them. So, thank you for that.
You know, and Susan, I also want to say that, you know, your staff has been very professional, even though they have been subjected to abuse, from verbal abuse from some of the people who come in here. I'm in my office here, and I hear people yelling at your staff members who are just trying to help them. And I feel very bad, but your staff has been completely professional and tried to assist people who seem to think that we have raised their taxes and raised their assessment, and we try to explain that's not the case.
Right.
I think they see a person here and they try and take out their frustration on whoever they see.
Exactly. We're the advocates for them. We're trying to help them get justification for what has happened to them. And so hopefully we'll have some results from the Cook County Assessor's Office, but of course, if that doesn't happen, we tell people you're going to get your results in 2 to 3 months. If they're not happy with the results that they have received, they can go further with the Cook County Board of Review, which is maybe a little bit, you know, Cook County Assessor sets our assessed values, so I'm sure that they're not wanting to change that so much. But, you know, the Cook County Board of Review, they have another option. So, and thank you for mentioning that about my staff. I really appreciate that because I know they're very professional and very courteous, and we do get a lot of people who are very surprised and very thankful because they don't get that through other, you know, going through the county or any other organizations that we have the patience and the tolerance, and, you know, they might be upset at first, but a lot of times we can walk them through and they see the value in that. So I appreciate your supervisor. Thank you.
All right, unless there's anything else, may I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Roll call.
Supervisor Diamond?
Yes?
Trustee Jones?
Yes.
Trustee Horvath?
Yes.
Trustee Maher?
Yes.
Trustee Malik?
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.